Good morning, teachers. So let us have now the part one for our September 2023 review on social studies. Specifically, the questions included here will talk about sociology, anthropology, and research. And you can still watch on my previous videos on Let Review. Usually kasi may mga tanong pa din na inuulit. Okay, so let's begin. Question number one. To prevent ethnocentrism, anthropologists and sociologists advocate cross cultural understanding through a concept known as blank. Okay, A. Culture shock, B. Cultural relativism, C. Xenocentrism, and D. Cultural imperialism. So the answer is letter B, cultural relativism. So cultural relativism, it is a practice of assessing a culture by its own standards rather than viewing it through the lens of one's culture. So this cultural relativism tries to counter ethnocentrism by promoting the understanding of cultural practices that are unfamiliar to other cultures. Like some are eating insects. We have to understand that they have their own cultures too. Okay? Number two, he who does not know to look to the past will never reach his destination. To which Filipino trait does this point? A. Pakikiisa. B. Kanya-kanya. Letter C. Pakikipagkapwa-tao. And D. Utang na loob. The answer is letter D. Utang na loob. Okay? It is a recognition of one's indebtedness. So this trait portrays the spirit behind the Filipino saying, he who does not know to look to the past will never reach his destination. Okay, so in other words, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa paruroonan. Okay? So number three, which Filipino trait is laziness disguised in religious garb? A. Utang na loob. B. Bahala na. Letter C. Pakikisama. And letter D. Manyana habit. The answer is letter B. Bahala na. Okay, so bahala na or resignation, one leaves everything to chance under the great pretext of trusting in divine providence. So this trait can be considered as laziness disguised in religious garb. Okay? So example dito, ayoko na, pagod na ako, bahala na, or we sometimes term that as bahala na si Batman. Okay? That is very common to us Filipinos. Number four, according to one another, we Filipino do not learn because our messages create what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Which behavior demonstrate cognitive dissonance? A. Our political leaders spend most of their time arguing. Letter B. Parents act as role models for their children. Letter C, teacher tells students to come on time but comes late. And letter D, there is so much division in the country. So the answer is letter C. Teacher tells students to come on time but comes late. So ano ba itong cognitive dissonance? So this conflict that occurs when your beliefs don't line up with your actions. Okay, so kagaya ng situation sa question, 'di ba? Sabi ng guro, the answer pala natin letter C. Sabi ng guro to her students to come on time. Maybe she believed in punctuality and she comes late. So hindi tugma yung beliefs niya sa actions niya. So that is cognitive dissonance. Okay, so it is a situation involving conflicting attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors. So this produces a feeling of mental discomfort, leading to an alteration in one of the attitude, beliefs, or behavior to reduce the discomfort and restore balance. Okay, so that is cognitive dissonance. Number five, which refers to the total way of life shared by members of society. A. Sociology. B. Biosociology. Letter C. Race. And letter D. Culture. Okay, the answer is letter D. Culture. Culture is a way of life shared by members of a society, including language, values, and material objects. Number six, which are the shared rules of conduct that specify how people ought to think and act called A. Norms, B. Mores, C. Laws, and D. Institutions. The answer is letter A. Norms. Okay, norms are the shared rules of conduct that tell people how to act in specific situations. And norms are defined as rules or expectations that are socially enforced. Example, encouraging positive behavior and discouraging negative behavior. Okay, so letter number seven. Which of the following does not accurately describe the true nature of culture? A. Culture is learned from interaction with other people. Letter B, culture tells us how we ought to act and believe. Letter C, culture is transmitted through biological inheritance. And D, culture helps us solve problems and adapt to our environment. The answer is letter C. Culture is transmitted through biological inheritance. Okay, so let us understand the question. No? Which of the following does not accurately describe culture? Okay, so the true nature of culture is adapted, transmitted, and learned even in the absence of biological inheritance. So ito yung answer natin, letter C. Okay, so the cultural inheritance refers to the storage and transmission of information, communication, imitation, teaching, and learning. Culture can be learned without biological inheritance. Okay, so this is the answer of that question. Which of the following does not describe culture? Okay, so culture is transmitted even without biological inheritance. Okay, so number eight, social institutions are enduring social structures that provide ready-made arrangement to meet basic human problems. Which of these basic social institutions provide community coordination, law and order, and defense? A. The family. B. Economic institution. Letter C. Religion. And letter D. Government. So the answer is letter D, government. Okay, so the government is an institution entrusted with making and enforcing the rules of society as well as with regulating regulations with other societies. Okay, so number nine, which element of social structure refers to a set of norms specifying the rights and obligations associated with status? A. Norms. B. Culture. C. Role. And D. Status. The answer is letter C. Role. Okay, so role, it is what the society expect from us in a given example, in a given status. Okay, rather. So example here, when you are a parent, your social status is you are a parent, right? Then then the set of social rules includes, as a parent, no, includes provide care, provide shelter, sends your kids to school. This is your role as a parent that the society is expecting from you. Okay, so the role is a set of norms, values, behavior, and personality characteristics attached to a status. Number 10, what social process occurs when people work together to achieve shared goals? A. Exchange. B. Conflict. C. Competition. And D. Cooperation. So the answer is very obvious. It is cooperation. Together. Okay, the word here is the clue word here is together. That is cooperation. Okay, so cooperation is a form of social interaction wherein two or more persons work together to gain a common end. Okay, so in contrast with a competition. Okay, so it is a contest or rivalry between two or more organisms, animals, individuals, economic groups, or social groups. So our answer is cooperation. 11. Which do you call the feeling of disorganization and frustration that an overseas contract worker may experience when he encounters entirely different patterns of behaviors, ideas, and artifacts as his destination in a foreign country? Okay, mga abroad. Okay, so A, cultural relativism, letter B, culture shock, letter C, ethnocentrism, and letter D, sinocentrism. So the answer is culture shock, letter B. Okay, so it is the common feeling of a culture shock. Maybe it includes anxiety, confusion, homesickness, kasi we are in the new culture. So we spoke to different languages, different food customs, the gestures, the body language of people around you is different than your usual society. So mako-culture shock yung tao. Okay, so the culture shock is often associated with traveling abroad, although it can happen in one's own country, state, or even hometown. So, anthropologist Kalervo Oberg in 1960 is credited with first coining the term culture shock. Number 12, punishment is a form social control. If death penalty is imposed to scare offenders and the rest of society into following the rules, the purpose of punishment is blank. A. Retribution. B. Deterrence. Letter C. Reformation. And letter D. Reparation. The answer is letter B. Deterrence. Okay, so maiibsan ang mga crimes in the future kasi takot sila sa death penalty. So the deterrence prevents the future crime by frightening the defendant or the public. Number 13, Emil Durkheim believed that a major cause of suicide in industrialized industrialized nations was the situation where the norms of society are unclear or no longer applicable to current conditions. He called the situation blank. A. Taboo. B. Anomie. Letter C. Technique way. And letter D. Deviance. The answer is anomie. Okay, this occurs during the periods of serious social, economic, or political upheaval, which result in quick and extreme changes to society and everyday life. In such circumstance, a person might feel so confused and disconnected what they choose to commit suicide. Number 14, wealth, prestige, and power much unequally distributed in the third world countries like the Philippines. So, are the basis of divisions into social classes. So, this pattern inequality is called blank. A. Social movement. Letters B. Social stratification. C. Social problem. And letter D. Social mobility. The answer is social stratification. So, stratification, the word itself means the arrangement or the classification into different groups. Okay, so the social stratification refers to the unequal distribution around the world of three P's: the property, the power, and the prestige. So this stratification forms the basis of the division of society and categorization of people. 15, there is a revival through cooperatives of social unity, neighborliness, and mutual helpfulness of Filipinos, where they voluntarily work together and pool their resources to achieve shared goals. This Filipino practice is known as A. Compadre system, letter D. Barangay, C. Amor propio, and D. Bayanihan. Okay? So the answer is letter D, bayanihan. Okay? So bayanihan is a core essence of Filipino culture. This is a positive Filipino culture. It is helping out one's neighbor as a community and doing a task together, thus lessening the workload and making the job easier and, of course, faster. So it is also called the community spirit. This is bayanihan. 16, there is a growing number of advocates of gender sensitivity in sociology. So gender means A, a biological characteristic, male or female. Letter B, the expected dispositions and behaviors that cultures assign to each sex. C, the rights and obligations for women as provided by the Constitution. And letter D, homosexuality as a deviant behavior. The answer is letter B. The expected dispositions and behaviors that cultures assign to each sex. Okay? So gender is in sociology, it is defined as the socially constructed roles and behaviors that a society typically associated with males and females. 17, which of the following may result at the departure country when Filipino professionals immigrate to other countries? A. Brain drain. B. Ethnic diversity. C. Population increase. And letter D. Culture shock. Okay. Ano daw yung result at the departure country when Filipino professionals immigrate to other countries? So it is brain drain, letter A. Okay, so brain drain. The immigration of highly trained or intelligent people from a particular country. Okay. So brain drain is a slang term indicating immigration individuals. So it occurs when a highly trained or intelligent people leave their country in search of better career opportunity. 18. In a Catholic researcher makes If a Catholic researcher makes a study on polygamy as practices in Islam, what influence will likely add subjectivity to his or her findings? A. Cultural gap. B. Economic difference. Letter C. Religious bias. And letter D. Class distinction. So, nauulit na natin tong tanong na ito, right? It is religious bias. Okay, so when we say bias, magiging prejudice in favor or against one person or religion. So usually in a way considered to be unfair. Okay? Kasi the Catholic researcher is used to have monogamy in marriage. Okay? So religious bias is the bias against individuals on their religion or belief. And if you will let a Catholic researcher make a study on a polygamy, it will likely be affected by their belief that union between man and woman should only be in a form of monogamy. Okay? Number 19, how should social scientists view culture? A. Difference in mores of people. B. Refinement in the arts. C. All facets of social life. And D. Ways of ethical conduct. The answer is all facets of social life. So facets mean one part or a subject or a situation that has many parts. Okay, so culture is a term used by social scientists like anthropologists and sociologists to encompass all the facets of human experience that extend beyond our physical fact. 20, he is considered father of modern sociology. Okay, so the answer is Emil Durkheim. Okay, so it is Emil Durkheim. Is the man behind modern sociology. He is known as the father of modern sociology because he was the first man who laid emphasis on social reality and said it can be reduced to psychological reality, and therefore an independent study of sociology is required. It is Emil Durkheim, father of modern sociology. 21, it is a scientific study of biological, social, and cultural development of humankind and seeks to find answers to questions why people are different and how similar they are. A. Social science. Letter B. Sociology. C. Archaeology. And D. Anthropology. So the answer is anthropology, but let us know what is archaeology first. So this it is a study of human history and prehistory through excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. Okay, so ang sagot natin dito is letter D, anthropology. Came from the Greek word anthropos or human and logical study. It is a study of humankind from its beginnings millions of years ago to the up to the present day. Okay? 22, who used the term Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft to distinguish types of society. Okay, A. Robert McIver, B. Ferdinand Tonis, C. Robert Redfield, and letter D. Wright Mills. Wright Mills. Okay, so the answer is letter B. Ferdinand Tonis. Okay, he was a German sociologist, introduced the concepts of Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft in his 1887 book entitled Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. Okay, so let us know these two terms, Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. So here, the Gemeinschaft, it is a social relation between individuals based on close personal and family ties. It is translated as community, Gemeinschaft, while the Gesellschaft, it is a social relation based on impersonal ties as duty to a society or organization. So it is translated as society. Okay? 23, Nora Honor became legend in the show business because of her talent, determination, and hard work. What role does this illustrate? A. Achieve role, B. Hereditary role, C. Ascribe role, and D. Temporary role. The answer is very obvious. It's letter A. Achieve role. Okay, so achieve status is something we accomplish in the course of our lives. It reflects our work and effort. 24, this theory emphasizes consensus, integration, and stability of the social system. A. Functionalist theory, B. Consensus theory, and letter C. Conflict theory, and D. Social integration theory. The answer is letter A. Functionalist theory. So, in the functionalist perspective, it sees society as a complex system whose parts should work together to promote solidarity and stability. 25. Which group would most likely have a counterculture? A. Musician, B. Drug users, C. Singers, and letter D. Dancers. The answer is letter B. Drug users. So let us know what is this counterculture. It is a way of life that is opposing to the prevailing social norms. Okay, so countercultures are shared identities among the group of people that directly oppose and do not fit with the mainstream culture. And being a drug user is against the mainstream culture. Okay, because drugs are perceived as harmful substance. 26. Karl Marx, one of the fathers of communism, says that religion is A. Game of life, B. The opium of the people, C. The bread of life, and letter D. Form of harassment. The answer is letter B. The opium of life. The opium of the people, rather. Okay, so Karl Marx famously disparages religion as the opium of the people. Okay, so basically, the word opium is uh, a type of narcotic drug. Okay, so but in this um, context, religion is considered as a sigh of the oppressed people, the heart of the heartless world, and the soul of the soulless condition. Okay? 27. Lucy, a whole skeleton of a teenage girl, was named after the Beatles song. A. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Letter B. Oh, Lucy, my Lucy. Letter C. Lucy and the World of Adventures. And letter D. Lucy in the New World. The answer is letter A. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Okay, so it is the researcher named Fossil Al 280 does one Lucy after the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which was being played loudly and repeatedly in a tape recorder in the camp. 28. What among the following are examples of material culture? Okay. It is letter A. Okay, clothing. Material culture yung tanong. Okay, it is really clothing. Kasi on the choices, folkways, mores, norms, this is not material culture. This is clothing. Okay? So material culture refers to the physical objects, resources, and space that people use to define their culture. Folkways, mores, and norms are example of non-material culture. 29. According to the modern science, mankind evolved through four stages of life. Choose the correct order. A. Hominid, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo sapien. B. Hominid, Homo sapien, Homo habilis, Homo erectus. C. Hominid, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo sapien. Letter D, Homo habilis, hominid, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens. So the answer is letter C. Okay, hominid. This is our explanation here. The first, choose the correct order. Okay, so the first is hominid, this one, and then followed by Homo habilis here. This is our illustration, and then Homo erectus, this one, and Homo sapien. That is the correct order, no, of the evolution of mankind. Okay, so letter number 30. What is said to be the world's largest race? A. Negritos. B. Caucasoid, and letter C, Australoid, and letter D, Mongoloid. The answer is letter D. Okay, so Mongoloid is the largest race, constituting roughly half of the world's population. It includes the people of Central Asia, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, the Eskimos, and the Indians of the Americans. Okay, number 31. Where does Tagalog and other Philippines languages originated? A. Malayo-Polynesian. Letter B. Indo-Iranian. C. Teutonic or Germanic. And letter D. Semitic. The answer is letter A. Malayo-Polynesian. So Malayo-Polynesian languages have official status in five important states: the Malagasy in Madagascar, Malay in Malaysia, Indonesia, also called Bahasa Indonesia and based on Malay. In Indonesia, Filipino based on Tagalog, in the Philippines, and Maori in New Zealand. 32. This is a systematic, rigorous investigation of a situation. Okay, so start na dito ang research na mga question. Okay? So this is the systematic, again, this is the systematic, rigorous investigation of a situation or problems in order to generate new knowledge or validate existing knowledge. What is the answer? Is it A, correlational research, B, applied research, letter C, research, and letter D, ethnographic research? It is just research. Okay? So research is the systematic, rigorous investigation of a situation or a problem in order to or for the purpose of generating new knowledge or validate existing knowledge. Okay? So 33, what research method will you use if you want to know the specific genetic code of the fruit fly? Okay, A, pure research, B, applied research, letter C, correlational research, and letter D, ethnographic research. It is A, pure research. So, pure research, the main motivation is to expand knowledge rather than to create or invent something. Okay? So 34, what research method will you use if you want to test the hypothesis? This is hypothesis. Listening to music lowers blood pressure level. So ano daw yung gagamitin mo na research method? Is it A, pure research, B, applied research, and letter C, correlational research, and D, ethnographic research? So the answer is correlational research. This refers to the systematic investigation or statistical study of relationship among two or more variables. It is the listening to music and lowering blood pressure, okay, without necessarily determining cause and effect. It seeks to establish an association between two or more variables. Okay. So, number 35, what research method will you use if you want to treat or cure a specific disease? A, pure research, B, applied research, and letter C, correlational research, and D, ethnographic research. It is applied research. If you want to treat or cure a specific disease. So, applied research refers to the systematic study and research that seeks to solve practical problems and develop innovative technologies rather than to acquire knowledge for the sake of knowledge. So, applied researchers may investigate ways to improve agricultural crop production, cure illness. Okay, this is cure. Specific, this is cure illness or improve the energy efficiency of homes. That is applied research. 36. What is a type of research conducted for a problem that has not been clearly defined? Okay, so experimental research, B, exploratory research, C, phenomenological research, and D, qualitative research. The answer is exploratory research. Okay? The question is that has not been clearly defined, right? So you explore further to arrive at the more finite and clear answers. Okay? So exploratory research, this type of research are conducted for a problem that is unclearly defined. Okay, so the results of exploratory research are not usually useful for decision making by themselves, but they can provide significant insights into a given situation. 37. 37. All birds have feathers. This animal has feathers. Therefore, this animal is a bird. Okay, is it A, inductive, B, deductive, and C, generalization, and letter D, inferring? Okay, so the answer is deductive. The statement kasi it started all. Okay, all birds have feather. This is general to a more specific bird. Okay, deductive from general to specific. So deductive reasoning is a basic form of valid reasoning. Deductive reasoning or deduction starts with the general statement or hypothesis and examines the possibilities to reach a specific logical conclusion. 38. What is the type of research conducted where its aim is to describe an experience as it actually lived by the person? A. Experimental. Okay, may mga keywords tayo dito ha. Actually lived by the person. Okay, letter A, experimental research. B, exploratory research. C, phenomenological research. And D, qualitative research. It is phenomenological research. This research aimed to describe an experience as it is actually lived by the person. So they are powerful, excuse me, for understanding subjective experience, gaining insights into people's motivations and actions. Okay. 39. When one considers the culture of another group as inferior to his own, this connotes blank. A. Ethnocentrism. B. Cultural relativism. C. Assimilation. And D. Acculturation. It is ethnocentrism. Letter A. Okay. One, no, di ba? He considered the culture of another group as inferior to his own. Okay, so ethnocentrism is the attitude that one's own group, ethnicity, or nationality is superior to others. Um, 40. This is the last number, okay? So the process by which a member learns the norms of the group. A. Accommodation. B. Aggregation. C. Compartmentalization. And D. Socialization. It is letter D. Socialization. So the other terms, this accommodation, it was already explained, no? By my other videos, okay? The assimilation and all of that terms. Okay, so the answer here is socialization. Socialization is the process through which people are taught to be proficient members of a society. So it describes the ways that people come to understand societal norms and expectations, to accept society's beliefs, and to be aware of societal values. Okay, so that would be all. This ends my presentation, and I hope that this is really helpful, no, to your review. Okay, so my next video would be on philosophy in education. Okay, so thank you so much for listening and have a great day ahead. Good luck, teachers.